Hello everyone, hope you're doing good. Can I ask you something? Have you ever understood almost everything in an English video, but the moment someone says speak in English, then your mind suddenly goes completely blank? It's strange, isn't it? Because just a few seconds ago you were understanding English perfectly. Now you can't even make one simple sentence. If this has ever happened to you, don't worry because you're not bad at English. Instead, you are simply facing a problem that millions of English learners face every day. So today we are going to fix that. Hi everyone, I'm Hizb and you're watching Dear Hizb. Let's talk about why this happens and more importantly, how you can finally start speaking English with confidence. Because very commonly when people message me, one sentence comes up again and again. Sir, I understand English but I can't speak it. To be honest, every time I read this, I smile a little. Not because it's funny, because I know exactly what that means. I think almost every English learner goes through this stage. And if you are there right now, I want you to know something from the very beginning. There is nothing wrong with you. Seriously, your English is probably much better than you think. The problem is not your intelligence. The problem is that you are expecting one skill to do the job of another. Let me explain. Imagine you watch a 5 minutes English video. You understand the conversation, you understand the jokes, you understand the story, everything feels easy. So you think, wow, my English is improving. Then someone asks you a simple question, what did you do yesterday? And suddenly you become silence. You know the answer, you know the words, but they just don't come out. Has this ever happened to you? I believe almost everyone who is learning English has experienced this. Here is the reason. Understanding English and speaking English are actually two different skills. Think about driving a car. You can sit beside a car for 2 years. You can understand every traffic rule. You can even tell someone as how to drive. But does that automatically make you a good driver? Of course not. Because driving is something you have to do. Speaking English works exactly the same way. Listening teaches your brain to recognize English. Speaking trains your mouth and your brain to produce English. Those are two different jobs. From my own experience, I used to think listening was enough. I watched videos, I listened to podcasts, I learned vocabularies. Every day I felt like I was learning, but when I actually needed to speak, I wasn't ready. Why? Because I had trained my ears, but I hadn't trained my voice. It's a bit like going to the gym. Imagine you watch hundreds of workout videos, every exercise, how muscle grow, the perfect techniques. But if you never lift the weight, will your muscle grow? Exactly no. Watching teaches you, doing change you. Speaking English is exactly like lifting those weights. There is another reason many people struggle, and I think this one is even bigger. That is fear. The moment someone asks you to speak English, our brains start asking strange questions. What if I make mistake? What if they laugh at me? What if my pronunciation isn't good? What if I forgot a word? Suddenly, instead of thinking about English, we are thinking about embarrassment. Our attention moves away from communication, and that's when we freeze. See, here's something interesting. Have you ever noticed that when you are alone, you can speak much better? You practice in your room, you answer imaginary questions, everything goes well. But the moment another person is standing in front of you, your confidence disappears. Why? Because now you are trying to be perfect. And perfection is the enemy of progress. If you ask me, making mistake is not a sign that you are bad at English. It's a sign that you're actually using English. That's huge difference. Another habit that slows many learners down, that is translation. Someone asks you a simple question. Before speaking, your brain does something like this. First, think in Urdu, then translate into English, then check the grammar, then choose better words, then finally speak. By the time you are ready, the conversation has already moved on. That's why your speech feels slow. Let me give you a very interesting example. Like, children don't learn English by translation. They learn by connecting ideas directly with the words. And that's exactly what we should practice too. Instead of thinking, how do I translate this? Start asking, how do English speakers usually say this? The small change make a big difference over time. Let me tell you a very common situation. Maybe you have experienced this. You are watching YouTube. Someone in the video asks, what's your favorite hobby? Immediately you know your answer. You think reading books. Easy. Then imagine the same question comes from the real person sitting in front of you. Now, suddenly you are thinking, should I say hobby or hobbies? Should I say like or love? What if my sentence is wrong? See the difference. The English did not disappear. Confidence disappeared that time. That's all. So what the solution is? I don't believe the answer is learning another 1,000 vocabulary words. And I don't think it's watching 10 more grammar videos. Those things are useful, but that would not make you a confident speaker by themselves. Speaking becomes easier only when you actually speak every single day, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. Talk to yourself, describe your room, describe your day, answer sample question aloud, read short paragraphs aloud, record your voice, listen to it, then repeat tomorrow. That's how fluency grows. Not in one day, not in 1 week, not maybe in 1 month, but little by little, your brain starts creating new pathways, world begins coming faster, sentence become easier, and one day you will suddenly realize something you are speaking without translating. So that's an amazing feeling. So that was all about how you can speak English. But before we finish, I want to leave you with one thoughts. Please stop saying I can't speak English and instead say I am learning to speak English. Those two sentences sound similar, but they create completely different beliefs. The first one gives up, the second one keeps going, and I truly believe that you are much closer than you think. Your listening skill has already built the foundation. Now it's time to build the second floor, your speaking. Remember, confidence does not come before speaking. Confidence comes because you keep speaking even when it feels comfortable. Even when you make mistakes, even when your sentences aren't perfect, keep speaking anyway. So if this video made you feel a little more confident, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button. And if you are serious about improving your English, subscribe to Dear Has, because every week we will learn English in a simple, practical and friendly way. Now I have a question for you. What is the biggest problem you faced while speaking English? Write your answer in the comment section. I read your comments and many of my future videos are inspired by what you share. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, keep practicing, keep speaking, and I will see you in the next session. Allah Hafiz.